You're listening to the 14th source for all geeky and nerdy news and discussion, which means that you're listening to a podcast.
For all intents and purposes.
I am Dee Bethel.
And I'm Andrew Asplund.
And we are your two overeducated, codependent nerd hosts, bringing you the things that we like to talk about, but filtered through inquisitive and critical lenses. In the episode for Friday, April 15th, 2022.
Good Friday for those of you that are into non-Orthodox Easter.
I mean, isn't every Friday?
Sorry, it's always weird that I work at a Catholic university, so I like, oh yeah, it's Easter, and it's like, well, no, it's just some people's Easter. Like, what?
Andrew, you're off the clock. Come on.
No, this is a thing where I found out like there's Orthodox Easter, which is like always like I think a week after or something. I'm like, wait a second, what? But it's different placement of days. So either way, if you're into Cathol or any of its derivatives, happy Good Friday. Or sad Good Friday? I don't really know. Like, it's a weird day. I remember when I was a kid going to private school, I went to a Lutheran school for like 1 or 2 years. As a first and second grader, and then we moved to public school because that shit was weird. But I remember it's a Lutheran school, and I just remember like the kind of the celebration of Good Friday, and it's like, but like, hold it. I know I'm new to this religion thing, but isn't this the day that the bloke gets killed? Like it's, and I get like if it's bigger than just that. It's just funny thing like when you're like, oh, hold it. Why is it Good Friday? Should this be kind of like, Friday, but Sunday's coming up, Yeah,
yeesh Friday.
Like, yikes.
Well, there is something to celebrate this upcoming week, Andrew. This coming Wednesday, on the 20th of April, it is the birthday of Russell T. Buckets. He turned 7 years old, and he's still a good boy.
Eek. On April 20th?
Yeah.
Cursed birthday.
I guess it's just a date until assholes made it something weird.
Until someone was born on it and then became a megalomaniac dictator.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about 420, bro.
No, I'm sorry. I was talking about that other thing. But let's not talk about Nazis. That's a little too timely.
Let's not, right? You made it weird. I just want to make that clear.
I always do.
I was just trying to celebrate. I was just trying to say happy birthday to my dog.
Happy.
And you're like, well, what's up? Eugenics.
He's a...
Is that, I'm not. What's up, eugenics is not going to be the title.
What's up, eugenics? Wow, we've ruined the mood.
That's too bad. We had such happy topics to discuss.
I don't know how to transition out of that. Speaking of really gloomy stuff, it's been look. I'm sorry. This is not the Andrew Hates NFT show. No matter how many times we talk about how much Andrew hates NFTs, or for those that want the longer name, the no fucking thanks. But it just seems that like it's
the title of one of our previous episodes, I believe.
It's unavoidable that it's like NFTs like the toilet paper stuck to your shoe. They just don't go away.
Right, and I know this. Even though they've been in the news because they won't go away, like you're saying, like the toilet paper stuck to her shoe. But like I know they really popped up into especially your radar, but our radar because we're there for each other. When I don't think we talked about this on the show. Maybe we did. When Star Trek made the biggest fucking faux pas.
Yeah, that was literally like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
So offering NFTs, and the internet decided to tell them their thoughts.
Tell them no. And what's interesting about that, a follow up to that, is that there was this big Star Trek convention about a week ago, Star Trek Experience or Star Trek Mission in Chicago, big convention. And they had a giant display for this NFT sell. And, a lot of people that were at the convention went and took pictures of themselves or video of themselves, basically flipping off the display. People in Starfleet uniforms walking up and like, giving it the bird, the great bird of the galaxy, if you want to get that really weird Star Trek take. So, So it's that kind of thing like, ooh, this isn't looking good. And they actually had their initial pre-sale or whatever, because the whole thing is they're doing this NFT. It's like, oh, we're going to have the season 0 pre-order where they're going to, for 24 hours, they're going to have like 15,000 of these awful non-fungible tokens available for sale at $250 a piece. We're not really sure what they do other than they're going to be part of some game in the future.
Right. And you'll own it.
And you'll hashtag
it's yours forever.
No matter how worthless it becomes. But
you'll own the link to.
Yeah, you'll own a thing that says that maybe someday you'll have something.
Definitely own the receipt that shows you own the link to it. Yeah.
But what's interesting is they did this limited buy of 15,000 or sale of minting of 15,000, and a lot of people were keen to point out that they sold, I think, less than 30%. By the time it expired, they still had on the order of like 11,000 available.
Which the ironic thing is, like, that doesn't cost them anything, right? It's not like all these NFTs are filling a warehouse, you know. But
right, there's not like a place. We got too many NFTs.
Oh man, all these NFTs. We gotta make room for
everything. Must go. Well, and what's weird is that means they did sell thousands of these things, probably to NFT speculators, right. Who all paid $250 plus gas to buy them.
Wait, what?
Oh, gas. That's a. And I'm not too in the weeds about this. I believe Ethereum is specifically a blockchain where, and I think this one was on Ethereum or a derivative thereof, that every time like there's a fee that's charged when like basically stuff is created. Mm-hmm. It's normally referred to as gas fees.
Oh, I see.
So you're not only paying the thing to the people, but you basically pay money into the. I don't know where it goes
because it's a Ponzi scheme. It's not about actually owning anything. It's about trying to get as much money out of whales as possible.
Yeah. So that was kind of like an NFT thing that kind of, now the unfortunate side was that, Anthony Rapp and Sonequa.
Who's Anthony Rapp?
Anthony Rapp is one of the characters. He's a character. Anthony Rapp plays Commander Stamets in Star Trek Discovery. And then Sonequa Martin Green plays Michael Burnham. So they're two of the stars of Discovery. Right. They were at the convention, and they were basically they both were basically shilling these NFTs. And people have been kind of like, hey, what's up with that? And they both have kind of taken I did my research, and these are not that bad. And like, well.
Right. What it sounds like is people on contract doing the job they're contracted to do. It reminds me of when Jimmy Kimmel and Paris Hilton went on Jimmy Kimmel's show, and they're Jimmy Kimmel? No.
Yeah,
Jimmy Fallon's show. And they're like, oh, look at this Bored Ape I bought or whatever. And like, it's just advertisement. You were forced to do this because you're under contract with someone, right? And like,
or you were paid to do it. One of the two.
Exactly. Right.
I mean, Matt Damon did a commercial for crypto.com, right?
Right. It's business as usual. Like it's marketing.
Yeah, it is. Although, kind of changing gears, there's been another story in the NFT world that came out recently. It was the original story was the story. It was an article. Was on Gizmodo, I believe. We'll have a link in the old show notes. So it's a piece in Gizmodo by someone named Linda Kodega. The title is "NFTs Are Here to Ruin D&D." So spoiler, that's what it's about. Basically, it is this person. They did a write up about this company called Gripner, and it's a startup in, I believe, Louisiana. And it's, there's some Web 3.0 NFT people involved. There's also a designer of role-playing games, right? One of the developers of both Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder is also part of this company. And what they're saying that they're gonna combine blockchain with D&D.
Okay.
So Dungeons and Dragons tabletop role playing game, blockchain. Let's look at it in the light best for them. Blockchain is basically it's a way to have trade where nobody trusts each other. Right. That's the whole concept, is that we can exchange these little digital hoo-has in an environment where no one trusts anybody. And so therefore, we don't have to worry about having a central authority or worry about people cheating us in the trades. Although there's other ways to be cheated in the system. That's neither here nor there. And so they're saying, hey, Gripner is saying we're going to create this environment, this game or system or league. It's still kind of unclear. And to be clear, the author of this article interviewed like one of the lead people of the company, right? Talked to them in a positive sense and asked them questions and got answers. This person was enthusiastic, ready to talk about it. And I still can't really tell you what they're doing. But they're basically they're trying to say we're going to create a way that you can play Dungeons and Dragons or a variant thereof in this like shared universe where everything you're doing, your characters, your equipment is all going to be part of this blockchain. And I think they have like a special like subset of a blockchain that they're building off of. So it's not the main Ethereum, but it's like it's still on Ethereum blockchain. But they're basically, it's the idea that you're going to get a character that's an NFT and you're going to go play a D&D. And then the character will get updated on the blockchain along with their cool blockchain equipment. Mm-hmm. And that's how you play. And then if you want, you could sell your character to some investor who wants to strike it big. And what's weird about it, first of all, is like this idea of was anyone asking for this? They talk about like organized play and how, and that's a thing, right? Organized play where you go play used to be the D&D, RPG.net. The RPGA was the Role Playing Game Association, I think. Adventures League. Paizo has the Pathfinder Society, where you basically are going and you're playing with like someone who's kind of like a registered game master, and they record your player number and send them to the home office, and your status is recorded, right? It's like that, right? Which exists. And in fact, makes sense. You have a centralized authority, either Wizards of the Coast or the RPGA or Paizo, who's recording your progress in this fantasy world. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like what they want to do is they want to take that and add the magic and the mystery of people that are just buying this shit for investment purposes. So I think their argument is, well, you're spending all this time playing this D&D character. Wouldn't it be great if you could sell it to someone when you're done for money?
Which is not an unheard of thing, right? That especially is going on right now. Well, so with the NFTs, I think the trend I'm seeing right now are a lot of like, since the market is kind of, if not stable, I'm not confident enough to say it's stabilized, but it's definitely kind of like, I feel like the hype has kind of died down. There is a market there. It's not as big as people want it to be, but it's smaller than the advocates say that it is. But I'm starting to see like, WotC diving into this. Well,
this is not related to WotC.
Oh, it's not at all.
That's the important. That's actually a really important part of the.
That's really important, actually. Yeah.
So you're playing in someone's half-baked offshoot of D&D.
Right. It reminds me of an article I saw, or news I saw recently about actually a company diving neck deep into NFTs. DC Comics announced that they're going to be releasing a bunch of not limited edition, but unique. How many? Let me look at this article. I'm looking at an article from Variety. DC is to sell 200,000 Batman cowl NFTs, and they're hoping to get $60 million from the thing. The reason why I bring it up is that it kind of, the language I'm seeing is similar to what you talked about. Like, we see companies saying like, oh no, like this is something you own. You can take it from game to game, from property to property, right? But there's always this undercurrent that's actually moving the entire endeavor, which is this. And again, I'm reading from a Variety article. Well, I would like to say that the opening line of the article is "Holy cash grab, Batman," which, thanks for being clear there. But on April 26th, they're going to release all these bat cowls. They have a line here that says, besides giving Batman fans the opportunity to own a one-of-a-kind NFT Batman cowl collectible, they say that the buying into this collection promises to grant buyers additional perks, as if they can use it in some other kind of opportunity down the line. But there's a parenthetical that I left out there that says, and they bring the potential for higher resale value, which speaks to what you just kind of talked about. Like, ultimately, people get into this. The people that are investing in NFTs are not buying it because they want to own anything. At least that's what I'm seeing.
Well, because there's nothing to own.
There's nothing to own. They're looking at it as investment opportunities to to resell later, saying like, oh, he want to buy a unique DC Batman cowl. Again, and we've talked about this 100 times before. Maybe this is going to be our last NFT episode for a while, and I'm fine with that.
I hope so.
This show is not about covering new NFT bullshit, because then we're just supporting the marketplace. But the whole thing is based on this fallacy of digital scarcity, right? The idea is that they buy shit up now so that in a year's time, they'll say, oh, do you want to own, because you missed out on the original opportunity, did you want to own an original digital, did you want to own a link to an original unique Batman cowl officially minted by DC Comics?
Or even just a receipt that says you own it. Like, there's nothing to actually own. It's just a receipt. But
it's you could say like it has multiple, it has wide utility across different games, different media properties, different services, whatever.
Only if it does, though, right?
Only if it does, and like that's up to developers and publishers to do that. But ultimately, like, the one thing you can do, and the reason why you should go into this, is to buy it so you can resell it, so you can recoup the money and make more off of it, right? That's the scam. That's the game, and like everything else is just a PR person trying to dress it up.
Right.
And it's comical. It's to quote one of my favorite philosophers, one Galvatron, this is bad comedy. And ultimately, I don't think it's comedy. I think it's tragedy, in that you can see the end coming, but none of the players can.
Well, I was thinking about this. I remember a friend who used to joke about someone saying, this is the kind of guy that has a binder full of baseball card sleeves, except it's nothing but receipts from places he's been. And I think now, like, that's the original NFT investor.
Yeah.
But what the thing is where I think there's multiple levels to this. Because I do think that, I think a majority of NFT sales and most crypto is just either, is just a grift, or it's a crime.
Right.
But the other thing that, like, reading this article about Gripner, this D&D or this 5e TTRPG on chain, is the certain level of how they don't even get what they're doing. And the article that we're linking to makes this commentary about it, where they actually talk about the problem of trust, right? Because the whole point is they're creating this organized play role playing game where ideally the characters and the equipment they have will have some value. Well, how do you prevent people from cheating? Right? How do you prevent these game masters? And they say, well, we're going to have licensed, basically, or authorized game masters to run the games. Well, then what's to stop them from doing that game master from doing something untoward for his own benefit or her own benefit? And they said, well, they've considered filming sessions and having someone review them. Right,
buddy cams on those DMs,
and they keep pulling at that. Like, well, they also thought about these other things they could do. And it's like, but you're trying to build on a blockchain where the whole point is no one trusts anyone. That's what the whole energy cost of crypto and blockchain is, because nobody trusts anybody. So the only way to make it work is by making it too expensive for everyone to do.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's made so that you don't have to trust anybody, because it's all decentralized, right? It's decentralized because it's operating on the premise that you can't trust anybody.
Right, and that's part of the concern. But the idea is that in this role playing game thing, they have the human element where we can't trust the people running it or playing it, So they're literally creating methods to prevent fraud, to the point where you say, then what's the point of having the blockchain? You're like, if you're going through all this stuff, because what I would actually, the blockchain could be replaced by a reporting agency where you just report this info to the head. In fact, that's how it's already done. And that would cost, that would have it would cost so much less and have, it would not be as perilous. But you have to do all this other stuff to make sure that you trust the content. I don't know. The whole thing is, it speaks to me that the idea that the people working on it don't even understand what they're working with, right?
Right. It's this idea that they want to create, like the ideal is like, oh, it's a decentralized economy that's actually fair. But then they're like, oh wait, if people are trying to scam me, we need oversight. What if we create like a force whose job it is to go out and like serve and protect the people involved in the blockchain? We just call it like an NFT police force. I don't know. Like, it's just...
Or an NFT banking authority.
The initial idea is to be the sort of, Wild West, decentralized and fair and like, a populist kind of economy. But as soon as money gets involved, people want protection. It proves to me that a lot of people that are getting involved in this actually aren't as maverick with regard to their money as they want to be.
Well, and this is where it goes back to me that it's the entire crypto and NFT system is built on like it's grift, it's crime, and it's people that don't know what they're doing. Like, and that's still a part of it, and which makes me go back to thinking about Sonequa Martin Green and Anthony Rapp. And I imagine being confronted by a bunch of fans on Twitter saying, "What the hell are you doing?" And there's that human instinct to be like, "I can't be wrong, right? I wasn't tricked. So clearly you guys just don't understand, dumb fans." Right. Not that they said their fans were dumb, but like they kind of doubled down on like, no, this is an okay thing. These NFTs, they sound great.
And maybe they believe that. Maybe it's just like, oh, my manager and my boss and my showrunner told me, and the producer has told me it was safe. And you're busy trying to memorize your lines to do the next episode. So like, who knows how much research they actually did? Not trying to pull the actors off the hook there, but they're whoever they're turning to for information is giving them the buttered up description, the idealistic description of what NFTs are, which can be appealing for sure, but it's just not. But it's a scam, right? It's a Ponzi scheme. So
yeah, and honestly, like is you and I are both people that have bought collectibles, right? We've bought, whether it be Transformers or books or Lego. But there's always the idea that like, yes, but at the end of the day, I can play with this, like I can transform
turn this thing into a car and back into a robot.
I could build this. Great. I could build this restaurant, with my Lego. And that's the thing that, and even if you think about something like art, right? Like you can hang a painting, and there's as a physical item, there's a certain amount of like this was the painting that Picasso painted, right? As opposed to a recreation. So you could assign, there can be more value assigned to that than I just printed this off at the print shop. Whereas the NFT is like you don't have any of that, right?
I mean, you could go print it off at a print shop, I guess. You probably don't have a high enough resolution image to actually get a good
But
print.
Also you could have done that without the NFT. That's the best part. So it just, and I think, and again, I don't want to always go back to NFTs as, oh my gosh, what's wrong with society? But it's this thing where it's like every time I feel like we've stepped back and realized that this is all just a bunch of crap, I feel like, some new steps forward. And it's like, but no, I'm the one who's found the problem for which this is a solution. And we all say, no.
Not to bring in the conceit of our logo, but the bracket is actually very useful here, because you could have a sentence that says NFTs, comma, what's wrong with society? Or you could say NFTs bracket, it's what's wrong with society, right? Yeah. So, but actually, one of the things that kind of permeates every story I see is like, yes, it's about, it's either about owning a digital thing that's scarce and therefore it's unique and interesting, but ultimately it's about people trying to create a resale market so that they can, keep money in the economy. And I think if we're going to talk about NFTs, and if we're going to put a pause on it for a while, let's go ahead and put it on kind of a victory. Let's end on a victory for people that are skeptical of NFTs.
Yeah.
With a recent sale, perhaps, of an NFT?
Yeah, this is so. Yes, about a year ago, crypto entrepreneur Sina Estavi, not sure where he's from. I guess he bought a pretty notable first NFT. Right, he bought Jack Dorsey's first ever tweet on Twitter, as an NFT for $2.9 million last year.
Do we know if that, going back to like even copyright and ownership, did Dorsey make that tweet into an NFT? Do we know?
No, I think it's just a picture of the tweet.
Someone just took a picture, a screenshot of the tweet.
Or it's just or the NFT just has a link to the tweet. I'm not really sure. We can go still see the tweet. It's still there.
Sure, it's yeah.
There's no scarcity. It's just this thing that says I own the first tweet. And he tried recently he tried to sell it just this week. His plan was to sell it and give half of the money to charity. Half of the proceeds. He had predicted, I think he set the price in Ethereum that amounted to about $48 million. Quite an investment, $3 million to $48 million in only a year.
It's an NFT, a minted NFT of the first tweet by Jack Dorsey. Like
an historic thing.
Indeed. Whether he has any claim to that NFT or not.
Yeah, and so he recently went to sell it, and
went to auction, right?
Went up to auction. The auction
million.
Closed on Wednesday.
Okay,
with seven total offers.
Oh wow! So those are probably whale offers. I'm guessing maybe got up to like 125, 150 million,
ranging from actually you're close, from 6 to 277.
Well, million?
No,
thousand.
No, dollars. Yeah, we're at seven total offers ranging from $6 to $277.
I'm gonna go open a bottle of champagne just so I can raise a glass to the dude that put down $6.
I mean,
that's a baller move.
Had I known, the problem is I would have loved to have been in that auction for I want to be the guy that says here's $100 for the thing you spent $3 million on. But I don't want to have to get into crypto. No, and apparently the auction ended. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. He apparently says he may not sell it. I'm not sure how auctions work in crypto land.
Yeah, it didn't meet his minimum.
But yeah, it did meet his reserve.
NFTs.
Somebody said apparently someone's made an offer for about $5,000 to him after the fact.
There we go. That's more than 277.
So he's moving on up.
There we go. We're getting there.
So this is, to me, it's a tribute to crypto and NFTs. At the end of the day, the line stops going up and someone gets held with the bag of dookie. And in this case, it was crypto entrepreneur Sina Estavi. If
you don't mind me mixing metaphors and speaking in platitudes, the line goes up until the line gets drawn. And when that happens, we see if people step up or not. And this is the case where it seems to not. Honestly, I mean, part of that could also just be culture. Like, that's a year ago when he bought that. That's literally old news. No one gives a shit about the tweet, the NFT minted tweet of Jack Dorsey's first tweet. They care about whatever the new thing is, the new exciting thing is. They care about D&D tweets. They care about D&D NFTs and DC NFTs and all the new shit.
What you're really telling me, the story you're telling is that NFTs will never be worth anything.
Right.
Right, like they're always they're like a car. The minute you buy it, it's worth less than you paid.
They are products of the internet, and the internet has a half-life of like 2 weeks. Nothing matters after 2 weeks, and so nothing will gain value because 1, none of this is actual scarcity. 2, you don't actually own anything, and 3, the NFT market is really just hype. And so it's people just jumping on whatever the new thing is. And most people that buy these NFTs are just going to be... Well, honestly, the people who are making NFTs are the people that are doing those mints and generating hype and perhaps scamming people by creating fake accounts and buying their own shit so that it raises the value, right? It's a scam.
There's like 3 different scams. Yeah.
Find an artist you like, buy some original art off their website, or commission them.
Just send them money.
For fuck's sake, you get a real piece of paper with ink on it. Andrew, why did I let you talk into talk about NFTs again? You are...
Well, the problem,
we're putting a moratorium on this.
No, but it keeps going. Just today, I mean, Wednesday, which is 2 days ago, right?
There we go. Yeah, of course.
There's an article that came out
this is live, dear listeners.
The gaming legend Richard Garriott is now working on an MMO that's built on NFTs.
Of course he is.
And it's, it's just this, it's like everyone gets, there are no angels here. And it always comes back to, I have to reevaluate. Are you a grifter? Are you an idiot? Or are you, those are the choices. Actually, that's the choices. Are you trying to cheat me out of my money, or are you just stupid?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
But, if you wanted to get me real sour, I could talk about the whole investment economy as a whole, because I think this idea of always be investing in the way we churn corporations and people, this is the future we built,
I mean, that's what the market's based on.
Is the galactic capital of the Ferengi Commerce Association, or we have our obligation.
Yep, with every day, especially online, we're moving further away from the Federation and more towards Ferengis.
Although I will say, I need to make that. I was thinking about stupid shit, because everyone always says NFT sounds like something a Ferengi would think about, and they actually have a whole episode where they talk about how Ferengi, when they die, they sell their vacuum desiccated remains, and it's a whole big thing. But then you think about it, you at least get a little disc with someone's vacuum desiccated remains in it.
That's what Paramount or whoever the fuck owns.
It's
Star Trek. That's the NFTs they should have started minting. Fuck. Like Ferengi corpse NFTs. Everybody would have been on board. Negus. And it'd be so self-aware, it makes it look like they're in on the joke. Oh my God. That would have been genius. But no, instead here's a tiny drawing of the Enterprise with extra shit stacked on top of it.
And here's Batman's cowl.
Here's Batman's cowl.
Not really.
With flutes on the ears. I don't know. It's got nipples on the forehead. How did that happen? So if you, dear listeners, have any thoughts about the topics we discussed this week, feel free to leave your thoughts as comments on the page for this episode at forallintents.net.
You can also post your comments or engage in conversations with other listeners on our Facebook page.
You can find us on other social media as well, where you can find us at respective handles. On Twitter, you can find Andrew at Profound Dark, tweeting about tabletop role-playing games. And you can find me at dbethel. You can find us also on Instagram, where you can find me and my work at dbethel Comics, and you can find Andrew at Profound Brick.
While you're at our website, you can take a look at our YouTube page, which you can find by clicking on the link in the corner that says YouTube. There you'll find this show rebroadcast in all of its non-video glory and other videos.
I should check. Does our podcast stream at 1080p? I don't know.
I like that it's just the title card, right?
Yeah. That's definitely not created at 1080p. I can tell you that much for sure. We use 2 tracks of music for our show. One is called Disco Medusae. The other is called District 4. And they're both written and performed by Kevin McLeod, the Clan McLeod, immortal swordsman, graph paper enthusiast, and perhaps unfortunate NFT provider. You can find his music at incompetech.fieldmusic.io, and that's all licensed under the Creative Commons 4.0 attribution license. If you like the show and like to help us out, the best way to do so would be to subscribe to the show using whichever podcasting service you happen to use. What would help us out even more, though, would be to go to their storefront and leaving some sort of review, whether a text review or using their proprietary metric will help spread the word to new potential listeners through the magic of algorithms. I have it on good authority that in the future we might be having a friend of the show on the show to talk about something.
The Batman.
Taylor Catcher. Yeah. Our on the street and DC correspondent will be coming on the show because the Batman is coming. Actually, this is kind of a news story. It's kind of wishy-washy when it would drop on HBO Max, because starting in 2022, Warner Brothers wasn't doing what it did during 2021, which is having day-and-date release on HBO. Well, day-and-date release on HBO Max as movies would be dropped in theaters. Instead, they shifted to releasing movies in theaters exclusively, and then having a shorter distance between their release on HBO Max. But they bumped up the release date. It's dropping on HBO Max, I believe, on the 18th or 19th
of April.
But I'm not going to guarantee you that we're going to have the Batman episode that week, because that's a Monday or Tuesday. Like, we need some time. So, but yeah, I am excited. I bring it up because I am excited. I liked the movie, and I'm excited to talk to Taylor about it. I'm excited to hear how it disappoints you.
Well, it's no Frank Gorshin as the Riddler, or Steve Austin, actually.
It's very Steve Austin, John Astin.
John Astin, that too.
Steve Austin was stone cold, my friend.
No, I think
Steve Austin as the Riddler is what I want now.
I think I was thinking more of the $6 Million Man, but
that too. But no, I want Stone Cold Steve Austin as the $6 Million Man now,
as the Riddler. We're like 3 levels in.
So until you mash up an egregious amount of franchises, dear listeners, I'm D. Bethel.
And I'm Andrew Asplund.
And for all intents and purposes,
that was a podcast. Stone Cold John Astin.
John Astin's still alive, by the way. That guy is so old. Yeah.
No, he died.
No, he is alive.
Holy shit, he's still alive.
Yep.
I've been convinced multiple times in my life that he has died.
He is not. He is
only to find out.
Sean Astin's going to die before John Astin does. This is architectural quality. I could build this.
I could build it. Screen capture tool.
Screen capture, capturing screens all day. It does not want to load this page on itch.io.
Itch.io.
It's my favorite Subway Showdown character.
And then they'll say, hey man, these maps were great, and then we all give ourselves virtual hand jobs.
Wow.
You weren't expecting that twist at the end.
Is it the name of their digital currency?
Digital currency.
This costs 80 digital hand jobs.
Pew, pew, pew.
Is that what algorithms do?
Yeah.
You're a statistician. You know this.
I used to be before the war.
What's the sound of algorithms in space?
Pew, pew, pew.
There we go.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Indeed.
I'm going to stop recording.
That sounds like a plan.